So in this episode, we find out there are 12,000 credits available at the Academy. 7,200 of the credits is required to advance to the Upper Institute. In groups, the students are battling against a group of metal golems. They are required to use their magic to defeat them. Sion, as usual, uses fire magic to destroy his opponents, while Colette uses earth magic to drop rocks and destroy her opponents. They both pass their test, with Sion having 9,889 credits and Colette with 7,340 credits. Will's turn, and when he's about to punch the golem, some of the other students begin to tease him about not using magic, and while he is distracted, he ends up getting hit by the golem and fails his test. Next up for their test is Liana Owenzaus, who uses lightning magic and passes with 10,100 credits. Wignor Lindor uses wind magic and passes with 10,075 credits. Julius Reinberg uses ice magic and passes with 10,048 credits, and with a little showmanship, he freezes not just his golems but the other golems of the other testing students. Julius approaches Liana and Wignor and declares his intent for war, which they accept before walking away. As they leave, the students are talking about how it's already confirmed that they are going to the Upper Institute. Students' credits are used as an index by which their skills can be judged. With only 5,405 credits, Will does not have enough to graduate, let alone advance to the Upper Institute. As he is thinking on his situation, Julius and his cronies come across Will and tells him that he is in their way. Colette and Will are talking, and she tells him she is focused on the jewel and that he should just focus on getting scouted at the Grand Magic Festival. She tells him that trying to advance to the Upper Institute on writing and practice alone isn't realistic. She mentions that there is a precedence for students being scouted and ascending the tower on the spot. Every 2 years, the Grand Festival is held by the Garden Magical Academy. There are a number of competitions held which are attended by high mages who come down the tower as scouts. It mentions that the festival is basically a contest between the different tower factions, which are the Lightning Lord's Wand, Thorzu's Fast, Sacred Elf's Wand, Elif Cannon, Flame Emperor's Wand, Incendia Barham, and Ice Maiden's Wand, Albisvina, as well as the Light Sovereign's Wand, Wisteria Noah. If you're chosen by any of the other factions, then attendance to the tower is assured. Will mentions that it rarely happens, and that for that to happen to him, he would need to perform some kind of magic that would put a high mages to shame. Colette goes on to tell Will that there are also watchers that appear at the Grand Magic Festival, which appears to be overheard by Iris. Will believes it's all a legend and thinks that a no talent shouldn't try to stand out at the Grand Magic Festival, so he'll stay behind the scenes instead. Will does not want to turn the festival into a regular sports event, which happened the last time he entered the festival, which resulted in it being deemed the absolute worst in history. As there will be scouts from other capitals, Colette and Will wouldn't need to focus on ascending the tower as there are other paths to follow. At the lockers, Colette senses a hidden barrier at one of the lockers. She uses Kiki to take down the barrier, and when they open the locker, they find some stairs that leads to a hidden basement room where there is underground gambling underway. The students are betting against who out of the top 4 students in the academy will go to the Upper Institute. While there, they see Sion and his cronies. Sion is shocked to see them there, and Colette tells Sion that she'll be seriously angry with him if he is rough with Will again. Sion's cronies are doing their usual boasting of Sion, which has Sion yelling at them to stop. Colette begins to tease Sion, and he starts talking about how he is not far off from the top 3, and when he finishes, he realizes Colette is not paying him any attention at all and is actually instead playing with Kiki, and that it's only Will that's listening, which annoys him. Class is over, and Colette asks Will if he is planning to go to the dungeon. He tells her no and that he has work, and a dejected Colette sits with Kiki. He was working in a tavern run and frequented by dwarves, and he has asked Frosty to help him with work in a tavern, and they are happily serving the patrons. One of the dwarves are talking to Will about the Grand Magic Festival, and Will tells him that he couldn't enter it. Gina asks Will to bring another part-timer as one of her staff had quit, and everyone in the tavern thinks Will will manage. Frosty asks Will why he didn't get Professor Wagner to find a job for him. Will didn't want to trouble the professor with anything else as he helps with so much as it is. Julius and his cronies have come to the tavern as none of the others are open. They are openly disrespectful and start saying that no talent and barbarians suit each other. Julius continues on with his comments, saying that the dwarfs are only allowed to live in a country by the grace of others. He openly looks down on them and tells them to know their peace. Both the dwarves and the elves escaped to their world when their own world was destroyed by the Celestials. As the elves are capable of using magic, they are treated better than the dwarves. Julius demands food and drink be brought to them, and Rusty brings them food which they immediately make fun of, mentioning how it smells of sweat. Fed up of their comments, Will takes off his robe and heads to their table. Will demands that they apologise for what they are saying, which they refuse to do. He mentioned how the dwarves work hard day in and day out, which Julius does not care about, and he kicks the food at Will, which hits him. Will grabs the two cronies and slams them to the floor, which knocks them out. Doing this flicks the ale onto Julius, and Julius wastes no time in activating his magic due to his humiliation. His ice covers the tavern, and Will gracefully avoids the shards of ice that are aimed at him. Julius uses ice to create a blockade to separate him and Will from the others. He pins Will by both arms to the wall and was just about to encase Will in ice when he looks in Will's eyes and sees he is determined and not afraid. It shocks him. Instead, he decides to challenge Will to compete in the Grand Magic Festival so that he can humiliate Will. Will agrees to enter, and Julius tells Will that he will remove any space for Will to belong within the academy, and Will counters that if he wins, that Julius will need to apologise to everyone. So this wasn't the fastest paced episode. Compared to the previous ones that we've watched, there wasn't as much action going on in this episode. It did wait basically to the end for not even a couple of minutes semi-fight scene to happen. But we get to meet some new characters. We see who the top dogs are in the academy and what their speciality is in regards to their magic style that they're going for. And we can see that Sion is not really that far from them. The lowest has 10,034 and Sion's at 989. And as he said, it was basically just his written exam which put him back there to the final four. But still, you're not that far off. Still an arse, but you're not that far off. And we see that Will is struggling. Will's not even that close to even graduating. You would have thought, based on how episode 1 was, when Professor Wachner told him he only needed 10 credits to graduate. I'm sure this is still in the same year. What happened to the difference there? Or is that just so that they can pass, but they still needed more credits for him to even advance to the upper institute? So I'm guessing you got your passing one and your graduating one, but then that still doesn't make sense because you said that he needed 4 points and my man got 10. I'm a little lost. Let me know if I've missed something because I really don't know what I might have missed. But anyway, Julius is basically like the iced version of Sion. Walks around with his two cronies that just basically kisses his ass and keeps singing his praises. Needs someone to actually do that for him, and has a bad attitude. At least with Sion, he would just be annoying directly to Will, and you don't really see him do anything to anybody else. Julius needs to get hit. Thinks that he's unstoppable, no one can tell him nothing because he's in the top 3, and now he has this secret technique that no one knows anything about. Just got a bad attitude problem. You have a little bit of magic, and you even saw, even with your magic and you pinning Will against the wall, my man wasn't scared. He just looked you in your eye. You can see the vexation in there. He watched you in your face, big and bold, made your eyes widen to the point where you changed your mind and decided, no, I can't encase you here, as you have humiliated me here with people that you don't even really talk to on a day-to-day basis, apart from your two cronies who are knocked out anyway. And Rusty, who, well, it's Rusty. I don't know what Rusty is doing apart from helping Will out and in magic items. But still, Rusty and Will were the only witnesses that you would see more often than the dwarves. And you're humiliated to the point where you now have to tell Will that I need to humiliate you so bad in front of everybody that there'll be no reason basically for you to come back to school. Will, he's pissed off. So he's like, I'm going to enter the festival, but that I've been telling everybody that I'm not going to enter. And when I win, you better apologise. So I guess we're going to have to see. Do you think Will's going to win? Do you think Julius is going to win? And what kind of petitions do you think they're going to be in now that Will has entered, seeing as they have to change up the criteria because he has no magic? Or are they just not going to care? And is he going to have to do a mashal and just start pulling tricks out of his arse? But we will see. Anyway, stay tuned for the next recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.